I want to give you some updates, also make some introductions for our Utah Farm and Food Business Program. For those of you who joined us last year, we just introduced this program as being very new. There were some things that we were planning to do in the future, and I want to let you know where we've come in this last year. So to remind everyone, or for those of you who weren't able to join us last year, this is part of the USDA Regional Food Business Centers program. The USDA designed this program with the mandate that these regional food business centers will support a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system. This is done by supporting producers and providing localized assistance, by providing technical assistance that's needed to access new markets and resources to some of these small businesses who maybe weren't sure how to access those resources in the past, and to assist small and mid-sized producers in overcoming the barriers they're experiencing in finding ways to access those markets. So the USDA identified 12 centers. 11 of those are regional, as you can see on this map. The 12th one is nationwide, that serves tribal populations across the US. Utah is based in the Southwest Regional Center that is housed at the University of California. And we'll be hearing more from about some of the programs specifically that are going on a little bit later. They really wanted to make sure that as these programs were implemented, that the resources created through one center would be shared across all centers and made broadly available. And that happens by each state that is part of one of those centers creating resources, sharing up through their regional center, and then that being shared out more broadly nationwide. So again, the Southwest Regional Food Business Center, this is comprised of California, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. And there are the three pillars of coordination, technical assistance, and capacity building. So in Utah, the way that we are carrying out those three pillars, the way that we are trying to help bring Utah into that picture, this is through a collaboration between the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food and Utah State University. So for USU, I am the lead, Karin Allen. We have Kinda Curtis and Ruby Ward, who are co-PIs on this project. And then in this last year, we were able to fully staff the USU part of this project by hiring our project coordinator and 3 regional business consultants that will focus exclusively on assisting food and farm-based businesses. The UDAF lead is Caroline Hargraves. You'll be hearing more from Caroline later today as well, with some updates about other programming that's going on at UDAF. Allison Ross, their grant specialist, and then they will also, hopefully in the next couple of months, be bringing on a new regulatory navigation specialist to help our small food companies and farms navigate that process of finding out what regulations actually apply, who do they need to get a permit through, who do they need to work with as that business expands. For example, a farm may know exactly what they need to do to have a produce safety inspection done, but they may not know what they need to do or what the options are if they want to jump into agritourism or value-added processing. And so by having this regulatory navigation specialist, we're hoping to help clarify some of those pathways and greatly reduce the stress and the angst that sometimes comes with trying to navigate that system on your own. So I'm going to turn the time over now to each of our new hires. First, I'd like to introduce Kalen Burns, who is our project coordinator, and have him talk a little bit about himself.
Hi all, my name is Kalen Burns. I'm the project coordinator for the Utah Food and Farm Business Program. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, but I consider myself a dual citizen of Utah, so to speak. I grew up in central Utah in Richfield and spent a lot of my childhood there as well. I have a bachelor's of science in business management from BYU, Idaho, with an emphasis in entrepreneurship. Um, I've worked in a number of positions, primarily in finance, and uh, kind of bounced from industry to industry as well. I've worked in everything from uh, the industrial sector to home finance and mortgaging to working for Utah State Board of Education, just kind of all over the place. But my passion has always been about our food system and building resilience and helping people be more independent when it comes to their food needs. Also, quality of food is always a big concern to me. So happy to be here, and I will pass it on to our TAs.
Okay, so our first TA that I would like to have talk is Tyson Lloyd. Tyson will be over the northeastern part of Utah.
Hello, everyone. As Karin said, I am Tyson Lloyd. For some reason, my computer says my name is misspelled, but anyhow, on here it's correct, Tyson Lloyd. Anyhow, I am super pleased to be with you guys, and many of you, if you are in the northern Utah region, may recognize me from farmers markets. I used to be a farmer. I ran a mixed organic vegetable farm. And as many of you know, if you've started a farm, it's hard to view the world the same way after you've decided to be involved in the food system. And when this job opportunity came up, I was super excited to be able to essentially use the skills that I've learned both from my education background as well as the years I've spent farming in Utah and be able to disseminate that and help other local growers because it's a huge need in my perspective in our state to be resilient and to have a diverse set of farmers that are having viable, financially viable and sustainable farms. So ultimately my expertise comes in from both my business background as well as the farm that I've run. I've applied for myself many grants in the past. I've worked with market development and helped myself and others with social media strategies. And that is kind of my niche, you could say. All of us business consultants slash TAs have different expertise that we're out there to share and help with you all. And with I don't have the answers for you, one of our other TAs, business consultants, will have supporting information to share with you and make up for whatever lacks that I have. Ultimately, as a farmer myself, I know that you all have limited time and there's not always time to go through all the regulations and challenges and looking through the resources that exist for our state. I apologize about the background noise. And I want you to know that we're here to help you with that, to kind of alleviate some of the hassle of jumping through the hoops and figuring out what you need to do. If you have questions, whether it comes to expanding into value-added products, if you need help developing your websites or helping with your social media platforms, we aren't bureaucrats. We are here really to serve you all, and we're all passionate about local food. I'm passionate about farms, and we hope that you use us, that you reach out to us whenever you have any questions, even if you think it might be a simple question to ask. We want you to reach out to us so that we can be helpful to you. So that's the gist of me. Again, I'm in the northeastern region. I share roughly the Salt Lake and Utah counties with one of my counterparts, and then the rest of it you can see there in blue. So hope to talk to you all in the coming future.
All right, thank you, Tyson. And just to let everyone know, these are just kind of rough areas. There might be some changes as we really kind of get situated and understand what the need is around the state. We might see just some small shifting in these territories. But just to give everyone a rough idea of who you can contact right now at this point in time to get help. So the next TA that I would like to have talk about themselves is Brant Hammonds, who will be over the northwest part of Utah. Brant, you're muted still.
I didn't have anything good to say anyway, Karen. But my background, I graduated from Utah State with a degree in accounting and ag economics. I've had a lifelong involvement in agriculture. I grew up on a sheep ranch. We ran sheep in Nevada, Idaho, and Utah, very traditional migratory sheep operation. My sons and I have a cattle ranch. We do some custom feeding and backgrounding for people, and then we have a commercial cow-calf operation. My professional background, I've been involved in banking for the past 13 years and agriculture and commercial lending. So my background is financial analysis, some marketing, business development, viability, sustainability of enterprises. My heart's in agriculture. I'm excited to work with all of you and be involved in agriculture full time. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Brant. And I don't believe for a second that you didn't have anything good to say. We're really excited to have Brant on board with us. Okay, and then our last business consultant that I would like to introduce is Tim Chamberlain, who will be over the southern part of Utah.
Howdy, y'all. I'm from the South. Oh, wait, I actually did live in the South for a couple of years, but I did grow up in the Southern Utah, and way excited with this possibility because you can see on my slides that I spent 11 years as a SBDC, or Small Business Development Center Director, which basically I help people with their businesses. So I have a wide variety of businesses I've helped with, from mom and pop to bigger ones. But in the agriculture industry, I did some in the agricultural, some out of the agricultural. But the main point is I've helped with a lot of business plans and helping people. And so what I like to do is do common sense business plans. So common sense means we got to make sure it makes sense to whatever you're trying to do. So that's talking to you and seeing what your goals are, what you really want out of it, and see if we can find the resources and put it together to make you find success. So that's using some of these other business consultants we have as well, if we need to, for finance or marketing. But I'm really excited to help find your dreams, see if we can make your dreams a reality, make a good business plan out of that. I'm also a certified strengths coach with Gallup, which means understanding how to look at your strengths and how you can use those strengths in your business or your family or whatever. And so I've been doing that for 8 years. So I have a lot of background in helping understand people and what makes you really good at whatever you're doing. I've had animals since I was probably 8 years old. I saved all my money up, was excited to buy a sheep. And from there, I kept investing, and then I got some pigs, and then I went on to cattle, and I've never looked back. So I've always had some kind of animals with me. And I grew up in San Juan County, but I had my family is from Long Valley, so I spent summers in Long Valley hauling hay and spending time with the farm over there. So I'm excited that I'm covering all of southern Utah. So I've traveled all the roads, so I know where all the towns are, and I'm just excited to go out there and help you fulfill your dreams, and I'm just be excited to see what I can do to help you. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask and get in contact with me.
All right, thank you, Tim. So you are welcome to contact any of the four of these, either Kaylin through the email address foodbiz@usu.edu, or reach out to any of these regional consultants directly. Probably the easiest thing to do now, as we're getting things situated, would be to reach out to Kaylin at that foodbiz email address. So I want to go over some of the resources that are currently available through the Utah Food and Farm Business Program. The first is the Business Builder Awards, and these are part of that Southwest Regional Food Business Center project that I mentioned. Our request for applications is open through February 26th. So at this point, there's only a week left to get those submitted. But we really recommend getting that application in early in case there are problems. All of these applications do go through a pre-review process for eligibility. And if there's something that you missed that makes your entire application ineligible, it would really be disappointing if we weren't able to catch that just because you submitted it at midnight right before the deadline. We do have Tracy Celio from the Southwest Center. Her and Kaylin are going to be talking a lot more about these Business Builder Awards in the next presentation this afternoon. So hold your questions on those until after they've been able to give you all that information. But if you have questions, start thinking about those now. We also have recently updated the Food Biz website. For many of you that have been around as long as I've been in Extension, which is 15 plus years now, we used to have a Food Biz website up with resources. And then as the university made a shift to a different web management platform, that site had to be taken down. And it took us a while to get it back up and updated. But thanks to Kaylin and all of the hard work that he went through to be able to make those edits and actually have control of that web page, we now have the website up with resources on production questions. Do you need to have your food product tested? And if so, how do you go about that process? Training resources, things like links if you're making salsa and your inspector tells you, well, that's an acidified food, you're going to have to take this specific training. We have links to where you can find that information. Links if it's available through USU or USU Extension, and if not, where you can find those other resources. Labeling questions, and also business resources. And as much as we can specifically, as much as we can that is specifically addressed to food businesses. So in the slides that will be posted to the website, to the Diverse Ag website, this will be a live link. But for those of you who want to navigate there now, it is extension.usu.edu/foodbiz. There's also the Food Business Basics online extension course. This is a new course that has been put up just in about the last year. This is through Extension Online. You can go to extension.usu.edu and navigate to their online course page, and you will see the Food Business Basics course. This covers a lot of information, things like potential finance issues, how to manage your budget, how to kind of play around with numbers on paper to see if something makes sense before you actually dive into it. It also covers the different types of food regulations and trainings that you might encounter depending on the type of product that you're making, as well as labeling requirements for FDA foods. There's also, at the end of this course, an optional section that focuses just on home-based food businesses in Utah and goes into a deep dive between what is the difference between the Cottage Food Program and the Home Consumption and Home Produced Foods Act, or House Bill 181, HB 181, as most people refer to it. Those are two possible options. One doesn't replace the other. So this gets into a lot of some of those nuances about making a food product in your home and what Utah requires. We also have frame guidebooks. These are fundamental resources for agricultural micro-entrepreneurs. So this series of guidebooks, and again, this is linked from the Diversified Ag site, the same site where you signed up for this conference. If you go under the micro-entrepreneurs link, you'll see from that menu, that drop-down menu, the link to these frame resources. We have materials there, a pre-business checklist. Are you even ready to start a business? It'll walk you through some common questions that you maybe didn't think to stop and ask before you thought about starting a business. We have other booklets generally to, is this something that you want to do that's a service? That might be one to look at if you're thinking about an agritourism enterprise, possibly. Other things, generally selling a product, not necessarily food related, but other products. And then for the food related products, we have one that is based specifically for Utah based home food business producers that will take you through a series of questions. And at the very end of that guidebook is a decision tree that takes you through a series of questions about the nature of your product. Is it a bottled product? Is it a dehydrated product? Is it a baked good? But it steps you through these series of questions and then tells you, is that something you can make under the Cottage Act? Or is it something that they're possibly able to make under the Cottage Act, but we need more information, or your product may require testing? Is it something that can be made under HB 181? Maybe it can be, but do you need to have extra considerations in terms of food safety to make sure that you're doing things in a way that is going to end up with a safe product that you're selling to people? So it steps you through some of those things, takes you to the point where you can decide which of those two possible home-based food business options you can operate under in Utah. There is also a guide to making home-based cosmetic products in Utah. This is something that a lot of people aren't aware of, but I commonly get questions about things like goat's milk soap or sugar scrubs or honey lip balm. So this will take you through some of those steps using your ag product to make a cosmetic product in Utah out of your home and what those regulations are. So for future updates and events, this QR code, this will take you to a form where you can sign up to be added to the Food Biz listserv. We're hoping to get the listserv up and running by the end of February, first week of March. We will also be adding a link to this form on the Food Biz website. So if you don't get a chance to capture this QR code, or if you think about it later, you can navigate to that Food Biz site. There are also regional events on the Southwest Regional Food Business Center site. You can sign up to be added to the newsletter, and this, I'm sure that Tracy and Kaylin will have links to this site in their presentation as well. And you can also get national updates on the USDA Regional Food Business Center site. I know there are links out to this site from the Southwest Regional Food Business Center site as well. So you can also link to the Southwest Center from our Food Biz page. We will have links over to that site, our Regional Food Business Center, and then from that page, there will be links up to the USDA page. You can sign up for updates on all three of these, so at the local, regional, and national level for updates on this program, examples of how funding has been used to support these local businesses, and hopefully see the growth that they've encountered as a result in accessing new markets from some of these funding programs. Okay, so with that, my voice is gone, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer a few questions now.
Thank you, Karin. I thought that was a great overview of the resources. And we don't have any questions that have come into the Q&A, but feel free to add those, and Karin will be on and continue to kind of monitor that, and we'll type in answers so if more things come up. But one of the things that has come up a little bit is Kaylin put in the chat, the foodbiz@usu.edu is a good email address to get to all of these resources. So that's why we have Kaylin as our great coordinator, so that he can link you out to kind of whatever you need. So really kind of remember to use that. And then a lot of the links that Karin was talking about, I went ahead and put those in chat. And so feel free to go through and enter, grab those links, but we will also, like Karin said, post them directly to the website. So I do have one question that has come in, and we've got a couple of minutes. So Karen, or anybody, do you have any recommendations of what I can do if I'm having trouble with my city's ordinances? I've been told I'm not allowed to sell anything that has been grown in my yard garden since city code states that home-based businesses must be contained inside the home itself.
I would recommend that you reach out with the specifics. So the city that you're in, if you have links to their ordinances or that city's website so that we could go through and review that, I would recommend that you reach out directly to that foodbiz@usu.edu email address. As we mentioned, that goes directly to Kalen. He will review that. He will pull me in, and we will do our best to see who else we can possibly pull in to see how we can resolve that question. Know that every time we get a question directly related to regulations, where a business, whether it is a home-based business or a commercial processor, a commercial food processor, we never share the specific contact information if we reach out to a regulatory or government group. We do our best to ask those questions on your behalf, but hypothetically, without sharing out who you are. So yeah, my recommendation would be to reach out to Kaylin directly. I see another question. Is Weber County covered by the consultants? Yes, it is. The reason that you may not have noticed it on the map is because we have Weber County divided east and west. And so on the northeast consultant, that's Tyson, he has the east half of Weber County. And on the northwest, for the northwest consultant, Brantz, he has the west side of Weber County. So that may be why you didn't think you saw it. You actually did. It was just half and half.